Hi everyone, my name's Gareth and this is my accessibility journey, or as my wife calls it, a series of unfortunate design choices. I'm just going to cover some of the challenges I had growing up, things that were supposed to hold me back in fact, but somehow I still ended up here. Now let me set the scene. I've got what you might call a full accessibility starter pack. I am colourblind, dyslexic, TBI, that's traumatic brain injury. I got knocked on the head many years ago. And I have ADHD. Basically, I'm living proof that accessibility testing can be done internally. Let me start on colour blindness. I discovered I was colourblind around about the age of 11. Our teacher lined us up in a classic spot the number of dots test. Now you may be familiar with these. They look like a bunch of coloured Smarties on a page. Loads of these little random circles everywhere. Quite hideous if you ask me. What annoyed me was everyone else was calling out the numbers and shapes like they were psychic. You see, I saw something, but it weren't the same as what everyone else was reeling off. And that really pissed me off, to be honest. And when the teacher told me that I'd failed, well, she'd failed because I knew what I'd seen, and what she was saying was completely wrong. So that's how I found out I was colourblind, by confidently disagreeing with the laws of visible light. Now here's one thing, colour blindness has never bothered me. It's not like I've ever been stopped by the colour police, but according to my wife, it's an ongoing domestic crisis. As far as I was concerned, colour blindness is not a problem, never was. But I can't speak for everyone around me. Let me give you an example. One night, we're heading out for dinner. I've got my outfit all sorted. A nice brown shirt, black trousers, beige coat. I'm looking good. Classic, stylish, effortless, no complaints. So I step out, feeling very confident, and I ask my wife, "What do you think?" She's staring at me, looking quite shocked, as if I've just walked into a wasp's nest or something. Turns out, the shirt wasn't quite brown. It was bright yellow. So instead of looking casual smart, I looked more like I was trying to audition for B-Movie 2. Now she took one look at me and said, "You ain't coming out with me looking like that." And I said, "Why? I look fine." And then she replies, "Fine? You look striped." So she hands me this dull grey shirt, which I swore was beige. But you know what? I didn't argue. Mostly because I couldn't see the difference anyway. And that allowed me to learn a very important truth. You see, colour blindness isn't just a visual impairment. No, it's also a relationship endurance test. So after the whole colour blindness revelation, you'd think life might have given me a bit of a break, but no. Next stop, dyslexia. Now, when I was a kid, dyslexia wasn't really a thing. You know, people just misunderstood. You were never neurodivergent, you were just thick. That wasn't a medical diagnosis. Bit slow, struggles with spelling, probably best at woodwork. Only I was no good at that either. I remember early school like it was yesterday, which is amazing considering I can't even remember where my keys were left this morning. Yeah, I must admit, I struggled with spelling tests. While everyone else was cracking on, there's me sitting there trying to work out why the word phonetics didn't start with the letter F. Now the teacher would say, "Gareth, you're not concentrating." And I'd think, I am concentrating. Only I don't speak alien and I haven't got a clue what these people are speaking about. Oh, and there was this other time I had to write an essay. Probably took about 45 minutes, gave it to the teacher, and she returned it with, "See me, big red writing." So I'm thinking, brilliant. Praise time. Nope. She was more concerned with trying to find out if English was my first language. Now to this day, autocorrect and myself have had an abusive relationship. It helps me just enough to make new mistakes faster. It's those wonderful times when whatever I type, or whatever I'm meant to type, it suggests something entirely different. Like the time I was trying to text to someone working on accessibility. That's what I was actually trying to type in. And the autocorrect come along and it just said, working on excess belly city, which, to be fair, wasn't also wrong. But here's the thing, and don't worry, I'm not going to go too deep. Dyslexia didn't make me stupid. It just made me inventive, because when you can't do things the normal way, you start inventing things your own way. And that there is where creativity lives. In a workaround, in an adaptation, in the how the hell did I make that work moment. So by this point, I was colourblind, dyslexic, with a talent for collecting rubbish and confusing teachers, with my life becoming quite an accessibility audit. So up to this point, I'd already ticked off colour blindness and dyslexia from the accessibility bingo card. And yeah, you'd think that was enough, right? But no, life had one more feature to unlock: traumatic brain injury. Now, to be fair, this one wasn't genetic or educational. And no, this wasn't genetic or educational. This went beyond that, way beyond it. A level of genius that you've never ever thought about or even contemplated. This was DIY. One weekend, my wife and mother-in-law decided to go shopping, leaving me and my father-in-law in charge of finishing the garden decking. And as she left, my wife said those fateful words: "Please, Gareth, just be careful." And me, being a confident, capable, cocky version of myself, said, "Don't worry, love, nothing's going to go wrong here, it never does." So they went off, and there we were. Two men, one spirit level, one bag of quick drying cement, and a sense of misplaced optimism. My job was simple: hold the wooden post in the ground while the cement set. Easy. Then my father-in-law says, "Gareth, I'll save some time. I'll climb to the top of these ladders and saw off the tops of the posts while you're holding them. Okay?" And there was the perfect plan. What could possibly go wrong? So there I am, standing there, proudly holding the post like it's the mast of the Titanic. He's at the ladder sawing away. I'm covered head to toe in sawdust. Then he looks down and says, with words of blinding wisdom, "Gareth, move a bit to the left, mate. You're catching more sawdust than the bloody floor. You'll be needing a dustpan and brush soon at that rate." So I moved slightly to the left, thinking, actually, that's a lot better. No sawdust, lovely view, life is good. Then, thwack! Something hit me on the back of the head so hard I could have sworn I saw next week. The two top feet of the post had just clocked me right on the back of the head. Turns out, when you move left, that's exactly where the cut-off bit fails. I hit the ground like a sack of cement. Ironically, the only thing that wasn't quick drying was me. Oh, and just let me clarify, no, I wasn't wearing a helmet. I was acting like a helmet, but I wasn't wearing one. Because obviously, why would I? I was only standing under a ladder with a man with a saw. So the next day I was at work, and I wasn't quite feeling myself. One minute I was shouting, the next I was laughing, then crying, then shouting again. Basically, I was going through all 5 stages of grief in about 30 seconds. By this time, colleagues were getting nervous, and then someone said, "I think Gareth needs some help." So they sent me to a specialist in central London. The specialist took one look at me and said, "Right, I think we're looking at frontal lobe damage and possibly ADHD. Have you ever been tested for that?" I said that I hadn't, and he did a few tests. Asked me a few questions and finally said, "Yep, it's official, you've got ADHD. Well done." Well, actually he didn't say the well done bit. I've just added that in for effect. So there you have it. One garden decking, one flying plank, and suddenly I've got a brain injury and an ADHD diagnosis. Now, traumatic brain injury is a serious thing. It's not just a pain in the head. It's like your brain's rebooted, but the operating system has come back as Windows Vista, or the equivalent, a potato. Anyway, let's move on to the next bit, the last one, ADHD. Now, ADHD is not a disorder, it's just a different way the brain processes information. It's like living with 47 browser tabs open at the same time. One of them's playing music, but you can't find which one. It's the kind of brain that goes, "I'll make a cup of tea." And 3 hours later you've built a website, learnt Latin, and the kettle's still cold. It's thinking fast, doing slow, forgetting why you started, then invented something better halfway through. I once sat down to write a serious email. Halfway through, I accidentally built a whole JavaScript library. Still not sure how that happened, but it's live as open source now, so there's that. ADHD is like having an ideas factory run by toddlers. Every idea is brilliant, none of them are finished, and someone set fire to HR. Sometimes I start cleaning the kitchen. I spot the laptop, then I check my email, then I Google, how do I get better at focusing? 2 hours later, I'm watching a documentary on silverback gorillas. But when ADHD does kick in, it's not focus, it's hyperfocus. It's the kind of focus that you forget to eat, you forget to sleep, you solve world problems at 3 a.m, that kind of focus. And that's how I ended up here, because my brain doesn't sit still until it's fixed all the things that don't make sense. And the one thing that doesn't make sense is inaccessibility. So here's the truth. Every challenge I faced, colour blindness, dyslexia, brain injury, ADHD, they didn't break me, they built me. They gave me empathy, they gave me creativity, they made me obsessed with inclusion, because I know what it feels like to be in a world that wasn't built for us. Those things turned me into what I am now, an accessibility expert, a designer, and a builder of tools that makes the web more human. I've advised for the W3C, I build software, I've written books, and I've worked with some of the huge brands. And the truth is, the real work isn't technical. It's personal. It's about building a world where everyone belongs. Whether they read differently, see differently, think differently, or occasionally get hit on the head by a plank. If there's one thing I've learned, it's this. Accessibility isn't about fixing broken people. It's about fixing broken systems and learning to laugh, live, and build better ones together. Because I didn't just overcome my challenges, they made me who I am today. And honestly, I wouldn't change one single one. Although, I'd probably wear a hard hat next time.